I live out in a rural area in southern Indiana, a place that's surrounded by lots of woodland, filled with baby deer, turkeys, and gigantic red-tailed hawks that are off to find their next succulent meal. And there's also crazy buzzards that fly within 10 foot of your drone and almost take it down. And there's acres upon acres of farm ground which farmers are busting their butts to take care of. There's large fields of corn, also very large fields of soybeans, and we can't forget the hay. There's lots and lots of hay. And when you live in a rural area like this, you're going to need one simple tool in order to maximize life to the fullest. And that's a truck. And while I love my 2018 Toyota Tacoma TRD off-road, it gets me from A to B great, and I love it to death, it's my daily driver, I'm talking about a truck that's a little bit different here. And whenever I say little, I'm talking quite literally. Because whenever I'm talking little, I'm talking about my 1996 Suzuki Carry Japanese mini truck. I bought this jewel of a mini truck in 2020, kind of right at the beginning of COVID. I had to go down to Kentucky with my father-in-law to pick it up, and after a little bit of negotiation, we ended up settling on a price of $2,700. And whenever you lay out 27 $100 bills on the floor and really look at it, $2,700 is a lot of money. But if you compare that to how much it costs to buy a side-by-side nowadays, some of them being upwards of $30,000, and how much it is to buy a truck, being anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000, I'd say I did pretty good whenever I bought this thing for $2,700. It's definitely not the nicest thing in the world, and it needs a little bit of work, but heck, I kind of like working on stuff like that and learning new things, so I was pretty happy with the buy. So we've determined $2,700 is a pretty darn good price, but why exactly did I buy this thing? Number one reason, I was needing a farm vehicle. I'm always off doing different tasks outside, such as cutting firewood like I am in this video. And whenever I do that, I'm always getting really sweaty, really hot. I'm getting a ton of stuff that's getting all over my skin, all over my clothes, and I just hated getting that all up in my daily driver, which is my Tacoma. With the mini truck, I'm able to just throw everything in the back. It doesn't matter how disgusting I am. I can wipe my pants off a couple times, wring out my shirt, and I'm on my way. No problem. But let me tell you, these things can do a heck of a lot more than just haul around dirty, sweaty dudes all day. They can do a lot of other cool things too. So let me start breaking it down for you. First off, they're a right-hand drive. And since this is a manual, I gotta shift with my left hand. I actually learned how to drive stick on one of these mini trucks whenever I was about 14, which was about 14 years ago at this point. And it really doesn't feel that weird for me. Maybe it would if I'd never driven it before, but since I have a little bit of experience from it, and it was the first thing that I ever drove stick with, it feels pretty natural to me. Plus, it kind of feels like I'm in Tokyo Drift or something, so it feels really cool whenever you're shifting with your left hand. Along with the right-hand steering wheel, there's some other cool features in the cab as well. Number one being the heat and air. And go figure, it's broken in my truck, but I'll get that fixed eventually. Then there's the control to be able to determine how much air I want flowing in and out. That actually does work. Then I got a regulator to let air just circulate in the cab or to let fresh air come in from the outside. Go figure, that doesn't work either. Got some little air ports that determine how I want the air to flow. Got a nice little radio, and of course it's broken. I just got to be careful not to park on the wrong side of town or somebody's going to be able to just pull it out and jack it from me. And I got a glove compartment on the passenger side. It's full of just a bunch of random bags and junk. And I think I use those bags to go ginseng hunting. But yeah, it's a pretty handy little spot to store stuff whenever it's not just overflowing and bulging with trash. And I still need to fix my seats, but the bucket seats are pretty sweet. I've just got to get them reupholstered. Then there's also the capability to go between two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive with this little lever. It's actually broken, and how I go two-wheel drive to four-wheel drive in my truck is just hit the little, I can't remember if it's axle lock or diff lock beside the steering wheel, and then that lets me go into four-wheel drive. Alright, and my favorite, most versatile part of the entire truck, in my opinion, would definitely be the bed. The beds on these things make up about 3/4 the entire vehicle, and compared to my daily driver, which is a short bed Tacoma like I said earlier, this thing has an entire landfill of space compared to what I'm used to. Let's break it down how big it is. We're sitting at 53 inches, and lengthwise we're sitting at 77 inches. So just to put it into perspective, I'm 5'10", and I'm able to lay down completely flat in the back of this thing, and still have some room to be able to stretch out. So if I ever want to turn this into a little camping vehicle, I'm going to be able to do that pretty easily. And another cool feature about the bed is that the sides fold down. I gotta fix that. And there's where paying $2,700 for a mini truck will get you. There's obviously some things that I need to fix on it, such as these side panels here. They're supposed to fold down just like the tailgate does, but obviously, as you can see here with my other one, I got a little bit of work to do. I just got to go around and weld some new pins on the bottom of these panels, and they should be right as rain. This makes the perfect little spot that you could use as a workbench, somewhere to maybe sharpen your chainsaw or lay out some tools and be able to work on something. Or it just makes a really cool spot to be able to sit down. And what I'm sitting on here, to where this isn't a completely empty and flat bed, is actually where my battery is. The guy that I bought this off of put a beefed up battery on it, and he just made this little compartment to go over the top of it. But it actually makes a nice little seat. So this would be a pretty cool spot to be able to sit and go fishing or something like that. So even though this isn't the best representation of what it looks like whenever the sides are folded down, because mine are literally falling off, but you get the idea. It gives the truck a lot more versatility and the ability to complete a lot more tasks. And the tasks that you're going to be able to complete, well, heck, that's completely up to you. Like, for example, I'm hauling these pallets here. They're just standard 45 by 48 pallets, and they fit perfectly within the back of the Mini. And I was able to unload them here, no sweat, in my firewood area.
Oh, it's so hot.
And I wanted to do a little hypothetical situation here with the back of the Mini, just showing how big it really is and how much stuff you can throw in it. So I just decided to grab a bunch of random tools and throw them in it. Starting with these 6 random chainsaws, they fit nicely. Then I had a couple random shovels, I think I threw 4 in there. Had a couple of rakes, if you're into raking leaves. Had this random pitchfork for killing zombies. And don't forget your snow shovels. You always need to make sure that your snow is nice and plowed after you've killed your zombies and raked your leaves. Then also just a little step ladder in case you gotta do some little stepping, and a little bit bigger of a step ladder in case you got a bigger step. And we're still gonna need to step, so let's just throw a full-blown ladder in there.
And once you're fully loaded down with anything you could ever want, you still got enough room for one more dirty hoe to join the party.
And I'm pretty sure I'm never gonna be carrying this random assortment of tools all together all at once, but hey, you never know. I might be cutting down some trees, killing zombies, raking leaves, plowing snow, and reaching up on high shelves all at once in the same day. The Mini's also a heck of a trash hauler, and between that and my chainsaws, that's what I'm hauling around the most in it. I don't have to lean over the sides like I would on the side of an F-150 or even my Tacoma. I can just reach in there with those short sides, grab it, no problem. It's great for that. And I do mess with firewood quite a bit. If you've seen any of the other videos on my channel, I had this little batch of hickory that I needed to get down with all the other wood that I've got in my wood area, so I decided to use the Mini to test out how much weight I could throw on the back of it. And if you know anything about hickory, you know that it's super dense and super heavy, so I wasn't able to throw a whole bunch in the back of this. I mean, granted, this thing is pretty old, like I said, $2,700, doesn't have exactly the best, most powerful suspension in the back of it, but it was able to get a decent little amount. Got back, was able to grab my little 6-pound Fiskars Maul, bust up a little bit of it. It was a good little load.
Well, you aren't going to be burning down a city or heating your stove for about 6 weeks with this amount of wood you're going to be hauling in this mini truck. But 1 or 2 nights, 3 week tops if you're not running it that much, this would be enough to get enough wood hauled around for you. Pretty decent tool for hauling wood, in my opinion.
And then regardless of whatever load I have in the back of the Mini, it's getting me from A to B, and it does a really good job with that. On the roads, I can get going about 60 kilometers an hour, which is 40 miles an hour, and that's generally how fast I'll go. It'll go faster, but I don't like going any faster than that. And then whenever it comes to doing a little bit of off-roading, even though the Mini is only sitting on 12-inch tires and it's not got that much ground clearance, it still does a pretty decent job getting to and from whenever I'm going through little creek beds or going through fields. As you can see here, I'm going through some pretty tall weeds that are almost as tall as the Mini itself. So I really need to get a lift kit put on this thing and a little bit bigger tires. I'm going to be doing that in the future. But for how the Mini is just being stock, it does a great job just getting around fields and whatnot. And then I just wanted to throw some random footage together, just kind of going up some hills. This was on the back of a dam on a lake. I ended up having to throw it into 4-wheel drive, but the Mini ended up getting up it. And I just got street slick 12-inch tires on it. So it's pretty impressive that it's able to get up this, considering these things are so light. And this is about as extreme as I'm going to get with it. I've not really wanted to do anything else to it because I don't want to tear this thing up. And like I said, I'm not trying to go through any giant mud bogs or anything. But this hill had some loose gravel on it and some loose dirt. And I was able to keep it in 2-wheel drive and get up this hill. So it does pretty good just going on little stuff like this. And there's a ton of other facts and stuff that I could talk about with the Mini. I mean, it gets great gas mileage. It's only got a 3-cylinder engine. But long story short, if you have the capabilities to get one, I think you should. They're really useful. Whether you live not even in a rural area, if you live in a city, it'd be great to scoot around town on this thing. And you'd be going on some pretty awesome adventures in it. I'm going to be doing some follow-up videos with the Mini on my channel. And like I said, I'm going to be putting some bigger tires on it, putting a lift kit on it. I'm going to redo my seats, put a new bed on it. I'm going to be doing all types of cool stuff with it. So be sure to follow along. If you haven't subscribed, it'd be awesome if you did. And if you don't, well, I don't know what to say to you. I guess just look at me holding this turtle and be on your merry way. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed the video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. God bless, and as always, have a good one. Thanks for watching, everybody.
All right.